Good evening to all. Is there anybody? Please tell me, am I audible and visible? Good evening, Tapan Kumar. Am I audible or visible? Good evening, everybody. Am I audible and visible? Okay, that's fine. Let's wait for few minutes to join another person because this is a very vital event and it is a very systematic and series of events. Rather, this is the first time cost accounting standards are discussed in open forum by a practicing cost accountant to educate the final cost accountant student and practicing cost accountant and also employee dealing with the cost statements and cost audit. Now, let me introduce myself first. Myself, CMA Alokesh Datto. I am a practicing cost and management accountant and a registered GST practitioner. I have worked in Coal India Limited from 1988 to 2019 30th April and gained a very vast experience regarding different aspects. But my main focus and throughout my career is cost accounting and budgeting and project financing. These are the three main core areas of my entire tenure. So I want to share my knowledge with you so that you can also gain some experience and some knowledge from me. I am not a teacher. Don't think that I am a teacher and I am teaching you. I am your friend, philosopher and guide. I am always available in LinkedIn, Facebook. Whenever anyone message me, I must reply. Maybe some late, but I reply in a positive manner so that he or she can be satisfied with my answer and can have the knowledge or answer of his question. Now let me start very beginning. Before starting the presentation, I would like to tell something about the cost accounting standard. The person who are in the cost auditing team, that means whether he is an employee in an industry or whether he is a practicing cost accountant or whether he is working or undergoing training in a cost accounting firm, must know the cost accounting standard is the backbone of cost audit because whole of the cost records stands on the cost accounting standard. So if you want to know how to record cost or how to prepare cost record or how to do cost audit, you must know cost auditing standard. Because in a cost audit, you have to certify the various disclosures or various aspects by seeing the whether the company maintain the cost records as per cost accounting standard and generally accepted cost accounting principles. So my first endeavor to start from cost accounting standard 1. Before this live streaming, I was conducted other aspect of cost audit, that is how to plan the audit strategy, cost auditing standards, how to write a good report. There are lots of live streaming program I have done and all are available in my profile. If you are interested, please go through it and you will really learn. And I also share my PPT with everybody so that you can, if you miss the live or you can miss my word and cannot understand, you can understand later on through the PPT. So let's start today's journey. Cost accounting standard 1. What it is deal and why the cost accounting standard is required. Institute feels that after introduction of cost audit in India, there are a lot of cost accountants doing practices and they are preparing cost statements in different manners. And there would not be any consistency and uniformity amongst them. So to bring the uniformity and consistency in the principles of classification of cost, the cost accounting standard 1 has been introduced. It is applicable to all cost statements which require classification, means the cost which has to be classified in different groups. Disclosure, that means where cost has to be disclosed in the audit report or any other report, and presentation, including attestation. We cost accountants are every time we have to attest it. That means we have to certify the cost statements, various cost statements for various purposes. So now a new section has been come under one section 142 that cost closing stock should be valued and verified by the cost accountant, which is in a draft stage, and within a couple of months it will be introduced. And by that section you have to ascertain the cost of the closing stock. Then only you can value the closing stock. So in that aspect also, now classification of cost in various aspects is very essential, and it is very essential to know you that what is actually the cost accounting standard 1 deals. I am telling you one by one how the classification is being done and on what principle it is classified, so that you can understand. I am not going in detail literature written in the displayed in the institute site. You can read thoroughly word to word, but I just want to highlight some major points which is required to understand the cost accounting standard 1 thoroughly. It will help you, but it will not sufficient to deal with the cost audit alone with my presentation. It is just a outline I am giving you so that you can understand cost accounting standard in very deeply manner and also implement it in your cost preparation of cost statement. Now, first of all, before going to further deep, some definition we have to know. Otherwise, you can't understand the principle of classification of cost. Number one, cost. What does it mean by cost? The cost means the measurement which denote how much amount has been incurred to manufacture a product or rendering a service. That means how much you have to spend to manufacture a product or to render a service. That is the cost of service or cost of a product. Cost means anything. Anything you put for bringing that product into a finished goods or service to a logical deliverable stage. Anything. That may be raw material, that may be your labor, that may be your other expenditure, that may be your thinking, research and development, anything. Anything can be constitute a cost which is associated with the manufacturing of a product or rendering service. Now, next point is cost center. What is cost center? Cost center is any unit, any department, any section under which cost is accumulated. For example, in a coal industry, there are several mines in a particular company. Every mine is a cost center. Again, in the particular mine, there are different departments. That is Department of Repair and Maintenance, Department of Civil, Department of Finance. Every department is a cost center. And cost is associated or accumulated under that cost center. That means it may be a machine also. That means any cost associated with any unit, department, machine, or anything, or even in a human being, it is a cost center. Cost object. Cost object means, as like a cost center, cost object is something relevant with the cost center. That means any activity, contract, or cost center. And a cost center is also a cost object. Cost object is a broader term and it includes not only cost center, it includes an activity. That means selling activity, manufacturing activity, administrative activity, research and development activity. It means customer, it means any process, product, project, service, anything. These are the cost object for which we are ascertaining the cost. For example, if you hire a car for going X place to Y place, and the car executed the trip, then how much cost is associated with that trip? What is that? The cost of the driver for that particular period of journey, the fuel cost, the wear and tear, that means depreciation cost, and capital cost, interest cost of the capital. These are all associated with that trip. This is the toll tax, These are the all costs associated with that trip. And that trip itself is a cost object. That trip itself a cost object. I think I have cleared the doubt about the cost center and difference between cost center and cost object. Cost center and cost object, somebody confusing the what is cost center and what is cost object. A cost object is a broader term under which cost center falls. Cost center not only indicates the cost center, cost object not only indicate the cost center, but also indicate any activity, any contract, any customer, any process, product, project, etc., etc. Now, third point is cost of production. What are the element of cost of production? There are major three costs. Number one, direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. These are the cost of production. These three elements obviously required to manufacturing a product or to render a service. It also includes, in sometimes, not always, quality control, packing material, indirect expenditure related to production and administrative cost. One thing must be noted that no indirect expenditure or any expenditure relating to selling and distribution activities will be a part of cost of production. It is out of the purview of cost of production. When we talk about cost of production, it means it includes direct material, direct labor, direct expenditure, and administrative indirect expenditure associated with production and administrative overhead. Administrative overhead is always indirect expenditure. Direct material, direct labor, and 5 elements: direct material, direct labor, direct expenditure, production overhead, administrative overhead. These are the element of cost of production. Selling and distribution overhead or finance cost does not constitute the cost of production. Please mind it. These are the definition of cost of production. Now, cost unit. What is cost unit? It is a form of measurement. That means how to measure the total volume of the product. Per unit means per kg, whether it should be measured in a kg or per liter or per piece, or it may be per feet, anything like this. In yarn, it is per meter. In petrol, in case of petrol, it is per liter. In case of any material, rice, it is per kg. Like this. Cost unit means it is a form of measurement of total volume of the production or service. This is a cost unit. Means how we will measure the quantum of the quantity of the product or service. Now, next point is abnormal cost. Abnormal cost means by name itself, this is abnormal, which is not regular or which is unusual, which comes in a blue moon or which comes in an extraordinary situation. That is called abnormal cost. Classification cost. Classification of cost. What does it mean? It means how we have to arrange cost into a logical manner, into a logical group with regard to nature. That means similar nature of cost should be grouped together. one proverb is there, birds of a feather flock together. That means similar nature of cost grouped under similar head. For example, salary is a group of cost, element of cost, salary. Under salary, basic wages, dearness allowance, any other allowances, any other payment related to the service is grouped under salary. Any cost related to the remuneration or paid to the employee grouped under salary and wages. That means classification of cost means arranging cost into a logical group having regard to nature. Nature wise you have to classify. Later on we will see the different types of cost, behavior and classification. Next point is conversion cost. What is conversion cost? Total cost minus direct material cost. That is conversion cost. It means the cost incurred to convert direct material into a finished product. That means total cost, that means total cost of production, excluding selling and distribution overhead, minus direct material cost. This is the conversion cost. If you have any question or any doubt, please give in the chat box. After finish my live streaming, I will give every answer to everybody. Please don't hesitate to raise the question. Good evening, Praveen Kumar Saab. Good evening, Mehra Saab. Good evening to all who have joined later. Here I am seeing my junior science CMA science is joining also. I am very pleased that after his busy schedule he has joined. Recently he has joined in Young India Company Limited. He is born and brought up in my firm, Alokesh Datta and Company, and now he is leaving left our firm to join a bigger to take a bigger assignment. I wish him all success. Next point is direct material cost. Direct material cost means any payment which being paid to direct labor. Who are the direct labor? Direct labor means who are associated directly with the production. That means who are in the factory or who are in the actual execution of the service. But it does not include the salary of the managing director, does not include the salary of the cost accountant or any other accountant. But because they are not direct employee, they are indirect employee. Development cost. Development cost means cost of research of a plan or design, a new substantially improvement in product or service before its production or commercial use. That means every company do research and development activities before launching the product or service into the market for commercial purpose, so that their product must hit the market and they capture the market through that production. So any expenditure before launching the product for commercial purpose, any research activity, any expenditure associated with research activities, planning, designing is called development expenditure, development cost. Now direct expenses. Direct expenses is nothing but a expenditure which must be incurred to manufacture the product or render the service. For example, in a coal industry, explosive cost is a direct expenses, because without explosive, coal cannot be blasted and cannot be extracted from the mine. In power industry, Direct expenses is the water, because if water is not there, steam will not be generated and power cannot be generated. Like this, in textile industries, color which you see in the fabric is the direct expenditure, or you can also say that is a direct material also. In some textile mill, it is treated as a direct material, and in some others it is treated as a direct expenses. What are the difference? The difference is, if your object is to sell the product in a colored manner only, then I think the color is the direct material. But if you plan to sell the yarn and at the request of the customer, you color it, it is a direct, the color is a direct expenses, not the direct material. Like this, there is a very crystal clear and very fine differences between treatment of direct expenses like this item. Distribution overhead. Distribution overhead always indirect expenditure. The expenditure which is incurred for distributing the product or services amongst the dealer and retailer and customer. Indirect employee cost. Indirect employee cost means the cost of employee which not directly related to the production but help the production, just like an accountant, cost accountant, manager, and office staff, security guard, etc. Fixed cost. Fixed cost means which does not change with the volume. That means fixed cost remain fixed. But it is a fallacy. If we go into deep, no cost is fixed in the long run. But for the time being, we assume that fixed cost means which does not vary with the volume or activity, volume of activity. Marketing overhead. Marketing overhead means the overhead or indirect expenditure associated with marketing activity. Material cost means cost of material used for production. Normal capacity. Normal capacity means installed capacity after taking the normal planned capacity, normal breakdown and normal wastages of time. That is normal capacity. There is a difference between installed capacity and normal capacity. Installed capacity means the capacity which denoted by the after installation of a plant, assess the installed capacity. Our normal capacity means taking into account the normal which can be achieved in a normal circumstances. That means after reducing the normal wastages and normal idle time, etc. Overhead. Overhead means indirect material, indirect employee, indirect expenses. These are called overheads. Overheads are of three types. Production overhead, which is a part of cost of production. Administrative overhead, which is also a part of cost of production. And selling and distribution overhead, which is part of cost of sales. Now, packing material cost. Any cost associated with the packing of product is called packing material cost. Prime cost means direct material, direct employee, and direct expenses. Production overhead means any indirect expenses associated with the production. Selling overhead, any indirect expenses associated with selling cost, selling, it may be direct or indirect. Any cost which is associated with selling activities is called selling overhead. Semi-variable cost means which is partly fixed, which is partly variable. Support service cost. In many organizations, you see that there is a support center which support other service center or cost production center. This is called support service cost center, and all costs related to that cost center will be called as support service cost. Standard cost. Standard cost means which has been technically and predetermined with technical specification fixed prior to commensurate of the manufacturing of the product or services. This is a standard yardstick. It is ascertained through technical specification and some technical study. After that, standard cost can be determined. Variable cost. Variable cost means which vary with the production. If the production volume goes up, that cost will also goes up. Now, what is the definition part is over? These are the simple definition. I think almost all of you knew that know that definition. But when I am talking in a public forum, I have to discuss the whole of the concept to understand better. Now, what is the principle of classification of cost? Cost can be classified on the basis of similarity of nature, which I have already told, attributes and relationship. Similarities of nature, attributes or relations. This means if the relations are closer, they are grouped in a they are classified in a single cell. Just a minute, I'm taking a call. Please excuse me. हेलो, आप कौन बोल रहे हैं? हम अभी लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग में हैं. हाँ, now in the nature, that means whether it is a employment related cost or whether it is a material related cost, whether it is a direct expenses cost, these are the nature of the expenditure. At relation means, I am telling again, for direct salary and wages, there are several nature of cost elements which relate one with another. These are all grouped under salary and wages. It is the process of identification of each item and the systematic placement of the like item together according to their common features. Means the cost should be identified. Element of cost should be identified and systematically it should be grouped according to the above principle, according to the above phenomena. Naturally, cost classified according to the management objective. That means how the management desire to have the cost pattern into their MIS report or for their corporate objectives. Somebody accumulates total cost that I need not require any classification. You just give me the total cost of production and what is the total sales value. I want only profit. Somebody says, no, I want bifurcation of element of cost, in which element of cost is going up and down. And somebody says, must go into deeper. In salary cost, which element, which part of the salary is going up, whether it is a overtime cost or whether it is a incentive cost or whether it is a basic cost, which cost is going up in the salary group. So it depends upon the classification, always depends upon the management objective. How the management wants the behavior of, analyze the behavior of the cost. That is the most first and foremost objectives of behind the principle of classification of cost. Cost may be classified into reference of the nature of expenditure, its traceability, or its traceability of cost object. That means whether it is a direct or indirect, whether it is a functional, that means whether it is related to production activities, or whether it is related to administrative activities, whether it is related to research and development activities, whether it is related to selling activities, distribution activities. The activity-wise cost can be classified. Cost can be classified under traceability, that is direct or indirect. It is also classified under behavioral wise. I'll give in details in the next slide. So the principle of classification is you have to group similar nature of cost, similar behavioral nature of cost, and objectivity of the management determine the principle of classification of cost. Hello? Hello? हाँ हाँ बोलिए. हाँ ठीक 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 ठीक. Thank you. First Kingdom. Yeah. Sorry, I have to take a call because tomorrow I have to leave Bilaspur for cost audit in a power sector, and it is call from travel agency which are providing the vehicle. Next slide, the main major process classification of cost. Number 1 point is nature of expenses. Nature of expense. Material, employee expenses. I have already discussed what are the material cost, what is the employee cost, and expenses means direct or indirect both. Employee cost means direct, indirect both. Material cost means direct and indirect both. Here, expenses are classified between 3 elements: material, employee, and expenses. Between both direct and indirect expenses are grouped under material cost. Material cost having direct material cost, indirect material cost. Employee cost, direct employee cost, indirect employee cost. Direct expenses, indirect expenses. Next point is nature of traceability. Nature of traceability means how I will trace it, whether it is a direct or indirect. If you go in the first point, in material, employee, and expenses, here we have to trace whether material is a direct or indirect, whether employee is a direct or indirect, whether expenses is a direct or indirect. That is the traceability. So these are the 2 types. Number 1, nature of expenses, and nature of traceability. Next is classification by function: production, administration, selling, distribution, research, development. Cost can be classified according to the function. Function means production is a function, production activities, function or activities, whatever you call. Administrative function or administrative activities, selling activities or selling function, distribution activities or function, research function or research activities, development function or development activities. These costs can be associated in 6 heads by function. For example, if you incur any material for production, it is a direct material cost. See, one expenses, material, cost of material. By nature, it is a material. By traceability, it is a direct. And by function, it is a production. These are the three classification associated with that particular cost. You have to think like this. Again, cost can be classified into production or operation. That means nature of production. There are different types of production or operations. That is batch cost, process cost, operation cost, joint cost, contract cost. Batch cost means in a tablet in pharmaceutical industries, no single tablet is manufactured, but a batch of tablets or capsules are manufactured in a single stroke. That's why you will see the batch number below the tablet strip, and in prescription in the cash memo, batch number must be written by the seller of the medicine shop to identify for which batch of production medicine is delivering. Batch cost. Process cost means in process industries, every process should be a certain cost has been asserted for every process. In a batch cost, also for cost has been ascertained for a particular every batch. Operation cost means cost has been ascertained for every operation. Joint cost means the cost at the time of ascertainment of cost at the time of separation of the cost byproduct, just before byproduct or joint product. The splitting point, up to the splitting point, joint cost has been determined. Contract cost means the cost of the contract. What is, there are different contracts, civil contract, electrical contract, mechanical contract, anything contract is that, traveling contract, any contract. The cost of the contract, I have given an example for a trip of journey. Though that is also a contract. That I have booked a cab for tomorrow and it has paid 2,199 from Bilaspur to Raipur. That means contract cost for me is at 2,199 only. And the cost of the cost, which is the cost, actual cost, it may be something lesser than that, because the travel agent must do profit against that contract. So what is his contract? What is his cost? Driver cost, fuel cost, wear and tear cost, and that is depreciation, interest cost of EMI, etc., etc. That is the cost of his, of the trip. And cost for me, that means contract cost for me is a 2199. Next, last point is nature of classification of cost, nature of behavior. That means whether it is a fixed cost or a variable cost or a semi-variable cost. There are three types of cost. Fixed cost remain fixed in all time. Variable without affecting the volume of production. Without, it does not go through the volume of production. Example is rent of a factory building. If you increase your production, rent will not increase. But raw material cost is a variable cost. If you increase the production, the raw material cost will increase. This is a variable cost, straight variable cost. Repair and maintenance cost, it is a semi-variable cost. How? Some preventive maintenance must be going on in the plant to maintain the equipments to run the show, so that there should not be any bottleneck for breakdown. That is a fixed part. But if it is a breakdown, there should be another cost for breakdown maintenance. That is variable. As much as you use the machine, the variable part will increase, but fixed cost remains fixed. As a result of which, total semi-variable cost may be increased, may be decreased. So these are the example of fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. Now, how you will present this cost in a cost statement? You have to present this cost in the cost statement. Look at the slide. First point is direct material purchase. At opening stock of raw material, which we have already have, less closing of stock, closing of raw material. It will constitute your material consumed. That means material cost for the production during the year. Direct wages cost, direct expenses cost. If you add direct wages and direct expenses with the material consumed, we'll get prime cost, works or factory overhead. If we add works or factory overhead, that means production overhead. Factory overhead, production overhead, anything like this is adding to the prime cost. And after adjusting WIP, that means working progress, opening and closing working progress, we'll get the works cost. This is not cost of production. This is works cost. But after adding administrative expenditure, it will come under cost of production. I have already told that up to the point administrative cost, it will cost of production. But after that, if we add selling and distribution overhead and adjust opening and closing stock of finished goods, will cost of sales. We'll get cost of sales. And if we deduct that cost of sales from the sales, actual sales, we'll get profit margin. If we add cost of sales with profit margin, we'll get sales price. This is the structure of estimating or ascertainment of a cost. So I think it is clear now why the element of classification of cost is very required to represent or disclose the cost statement in a logical manner. If you do not classify the cost according to the principles we have already discussed, you will not get this figure. That will be jumbled up. Now disclosure. Any change in classification by the law. If you change any classification due to any law or for any cost accounting policy or anything else, you have to disclose it, because that will not be sufficient for the purpose of this cost accounting standard. If we change any classification, you have to disclose. Any change of classification which has material effect on cost of production, that has also to be mentioned, ascertained. This is in a nutshell, the very simple thing, and I think you have all understood the simple classification of thing. How the principle of classification of cost and what are the different types, how we can grouping or classify the cost in different aspects for our objectivity. That means that management activity. And that's all for today. And please be rest assured that I will be coming in live streaming 1 or 2 weeks after my free time. for with cost accounting standard 2. That means capacity determination. I'm coming and be associated with me, keep in touch with me. I'm accepting all connections. I'm not refusing anybody. Anybody can send connection request. I'll accept it, and I'm happy to share my knowledge with you. If you be benefited, I will be glad that my effort has been in a fruitful manner delivered. Another thing, I have developed a website, cmaguideindia.in. cmaguideindia.in. That is the web address, www.cmaguideindia.in. It is for practitioner, it is for employee, it is for all students. Students can get answer from me and other faculties. Members can also get answer of their queries or support articles. And I request all of you to post your resume in the site so that prospective employer can find you. And also who are in industry, I request your requirement should post in that site free of cost. That is completely free of cost. You have nothing to be charged. All service is free. Please take that advantage. It is my devotion to the profession, and thank you for today's for patient listening me. Good night. Good night to everybody. Thank you.